Well, he asked a good question. What's wrong with him as a student being engaged in the electoral process here, even if he's not from Iowa? If this were, first of all, if there was an election, you have a constitutional right enunciated by the Supreme Court more than 30 years ago to register and vote here, because you spend more months a year here than you do wherever you're from. Okay? Historically, the Iowa culture has been that the caucus should just be for Iowans because it's not an election. It's not even an election for all Iowans. Keep in mind, if you happen to be on military duty, you're disenfranchised. If you have to work at night, you can't caucus. So it's always been, if you will, a restricted franchise. And I can't answer this question in good conscience. I think what she didn't want to be seen to be doing is encouraging people to come in from out of state just to try to register on the same day registration here and vote. I think what you have to do is search your conscience and ask yourself this. If you vote in the Iowa caucus, will you vote here in November of 2008? Unless you graduated from school, in which case you have an excuse. In other words, do you consider yourself as a voting citizen primarily in Iowa? Because you spend more months a year here. You can clearly legally vote in this caucus then. You can caucus. But what she doesn't want to do is to look like she's trying to get people to come in here, volunteer in her campaign, sign up on the same day registration, claim they're going to be here, and then be somebody someplace else voting either in a later primary or in a general election. Now, if you graduate, it's a whole different deal. You know, but if you see yourself primarily as an Iowan, as a political person, then I don't think there's anything wrong with you participating in the caucus. You plainly have a constitutional right to register and vote. But what I think, and maybe the legislators can clarify this, but I think what they don't want to have happen is to have this portrayed as a result, whether it benefits Hillary or not, spoken by the people of Iowa and not really. I mean, after all, there's a lot of people here who weren't born in Iowa who were born here. A lot of people here who retired here. I just was with somebody who's going to caucus for Hillary who worked her entire life in New York and retired in Iowa. So is that a fair statement of what that ought to be? Is that fair? So if you consider yourself and your political persona as primarily involved in Iowa, then I think it's time for you to register in caucus. But if you could, go right back home to Minnesota where you're from and vote the Democratic primary there too, and this is a one-off deal, then I don't think it's right. Even if it benefits Hillary. You know, I think that's what we ought to do, and that's a matter of conscience. Because you can probably get away with it regardless. But you have to search your conscience. If you think, I'm here at Grinnell, I love this state, this is the place where I can my voice, will have the biggest impact on national policy, and therefore I will commit myself to political participation in Iowa, then I think you qualify, because you can legally register to vote.